Not specifically, but we have that quest that I think is telling me to use this machine. The tech priest greets you with a bow. His gaze is drawn to one of the cogitator's vid screens. Your lordship, the great mechanism, has sensed your presence. Alright, see you, pseudonym. Fair amount of general stuff on the bridge. Okay. We've done a lot of stuff on the bridge, but who knows how much more there is at the current moment. Status check complete. Algorithm. Okay, point at the text. What is that supposed to mean? The screen blinks and a new entry appears in place of the previous one. Input, NOM-OS, prompt, algorithm 52136. Glad the DLC added some other compartments on board. Yeah, we've been around the ship quite a bit. The machine spirit has recognized the one who stands before it. The previous string of sacred code signified a greeting, as well as acknowledgement that you have successfully completed a certain task. Now the great mechanism stands ready to process your request. What task? The answer lies beyond the bounds of my knowledge. The tech priest looks back at the cogitator. My supposition is that it may have something to do with your recent travels. The vid screen flickers repeatedly and updates the text input prompt. NOM-OS await request algorithm 52137. Sense my presence, how? The mechanism was molded in the forges of the Adeptus Mechanicus so that it might serve the rogue trader. It was in your presence that his machine spirit first manifested itself, a miracle of the Omnissiah and a testament to his glory. Enough of this. I wish to inquire about something else. The tech priest bows. Hand the Dargonus data bank to the tech priest. Access the data from Dargonus. With reverent trepidation, the tech priest accepts the device from your hands and places it inside one of the drives, all the while honoring the machine with modulating binaric prayer. The turbines within the cogitator stir into motion and the vid screen lights up. Input pack comp. Nom OS stab true. Stat check init. Nom OS unpack epitaph status initiated. Data reg 0924558847. The tech priest extracts the data slate from the cogitator and gives it to you. The machine spirit has revealed the contents of the encrypted data, and I hereby pass it to you. This is where I reach the limit of my authorization, but you now have the option to review the decrypted data personally. We received Theodore von Valentius's personal notes. Okay. Data deleted, entry damaged. Rogue trader, likely a lackey. It is humiliating and dispiriting to put up with the part of an errand servant to an imperious madman vested with even greater power than that of any rogue trader. Alas, when one side of these scales holds my pride and the other the fate of the Von Valentius Protectorate and my entire bloodline, choice becomes a futile illusion. It would be far too naive of me not to prepare for the worst. Epitaph will decide the future of the Expanse as a whole, but I have some time at my disposal until then. Heirs with the Von Valentius blood in them will soon be located and brought to me. I cannot afford to delay the choice of successor any longer. Epitaph. That was one of the words that the cogitator, the computer, stated. Yeah? Epitaph. Yeah. They treat... That note treats Epitaph like a name. Epitaph will decide the future of the Expanse as a whole. So who or what is Epitaph, I guess, is currently an unknown. We will find out more when we get the other data slate from Kiava Gamma, I'm sure. Let's see if Abelard has anything to say. He's been involved in quite a bit.
Captain.
Nope.
Lord Captain.
What about Sauerback, since we've agreed to honor her family? Nope. Alright. Probably no one has anything particularly new or exciting to say at the moment, it seems. So we're going to want to go back down to the planet and bring Jai with us to the Administratum. Terrible news from Dargona's Lord Captain. A subsidiary hive city, Scipione 84249, has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production is halted, and millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wastelands and overloading the transport lines leading to neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sectors are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What is your directive regarding the distribution of these refugees? What is the cause of the catastrophe? It is still unclear. The noble houses are casting blame on one another. Agents of the esteemed Achilles Scalander, stationed in Scipione 84249, died heroically while trying to save the population from this disaster. Their final reports mentioned some vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lower hive, but did not go into further detail. All your servants are currently too busy dealing with the consequences of the crisis to investigate its causes. What say my advisors? The death of Achilles' agents troubles me. It may not be a coincidence. Until the cause of the disaster can be concretely established, I would avoid letting refugees into other hives. There may be saboteurs among them. I recommend setting up prohibitive cordons where the refugees can be contained in the wasteland between the hives. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel stroke of fate with dignity. If the other hives do not wish to accept the unfortunate victims of this tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hives a lesson in resilience and humility. I'm sure the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive out in the wastelands and establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions will be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness, this tragedy a feat of spirit. It's different, but agrees with what Heinrich was saying of detain and cordon off the refugees into different areas until we can find out who is guilty. And she's saying, okay, then have the victims be put into camps in the wastelands and, learn to survive for themselves out in the wastelands. And say, okay, that's also keeping them away from the rest of the hives. The noble houses are trying to wash their hands of this. How predictable. And yet, it is their duty to see to it that the planet meets its tithe obligations and brings glory and revenue to the treasury in your absence. Let the aristocrats see to the refugees and not stop until every last one of them has been put to work. So we can remind the noble houses of their duties, which will give us Blood of Scipione 84249. We can have the ecclesiarchy does not ignore the laments of the disposed or dispossessed. Increases efficiency. Heinrich set up prohibitive cordons around at the perimeter of the hives. Bane of Scipione 84249. I actually like Argenta's better because it hopefully has the same general outcome of Heinrich's. But rather than just capturing them, we give them an opportunity to find work and survive on their own and become martyrs, as she states. Proud desert-dwelling martyrs. And if there are heretics among them that caused this tragedy, maybe this will either kill them off or somehow the others, as they are becoming more focused with the ecclesiarchy, will turn on the heretics among them. He who dares to remain deaf to the pleas of the destitute shall be branded a traitor to the faith. Large labor settlements were set up around the ruins of Scipione 84249, and the refugees from the wastelands and neighboring hives have been rounded up there. In the harsh wastelands scorched with industrial poison, with only a bare modicum of food and clean water, the settlement's residents have begun the arduous and dangerous task of rebuilding their fallen home. Many of the ecclesiarchy's priests sought to share in this burden with the poor souls coming to their village and preaching to them about the righteousness of the hard work. Some priests have even chosen to stay in the camps permanently, where the desert cults of the Aconite martyrs have begun to gather around them, glorifying the Lord Captain for granting them the right to suffer for the glory of the God Emperor. So we've got our palace, we've got our throne room that we could just go straight to. Or go to the administratum. Ooh, projects. Definitely projects. A new hive city will be established on top of the ruins of Scipione 84249. So is Scipione 84249 a city on Dargonus? I think that's what I'm reading. I don't think I picked that up before. I thought it was like a planet itself. A hive spire. Okay. So one of the hive spires has kind of self-destructed. We don't know why yet. And we've decided that the people, rather than fleeing the planet or going to a different hive... Yeah. No, I know hive worlds are... It's basically... Wow, I was going to say the city from Star Wars, or the planet from Star Wars, but my brain has just dropped the name. But yeah, basically the entire planet has gotten so overpopulated that the whole planet itself is just cities that go way into the sky. Coruscant, there's the word, yeah. It's basically Coruscant, where you just have these giant mega cities that are covering the entire surface of the planet. And at the tops, you have the aristocrats, the nobles, etc. And then the bottom levels is just pollution and slums and the various hive workers. And apparently someone down there did something that caused it to collapse. So, rebuild a new city on top. I did in fact get a new profile picture. Yes, pomegranate. Decided I should start putting some effort into improving the channel. So we can build a new hive city. This will cost us... It blocks the other two, of course. It'll give us, or it'll cost us provisions. It'll lower our profit factor, improve complacency, improve efficiency, improve security, and give us more people. Things are going good. I am having fun. Yeah. And this counts for all colonies, not just this single colony. There's some good stuff there. How are you, pomegranate? Palace Extasiums will be constructed on top of the ruins of Scipione 84249 for the aristocracy. The dead and dying will fertilize the gardens that will ring these pleasure chambers. Huh. That's good. So, build a new city or turn this into a pleasure facility for the aristocracy, where they use the dead and dying from there to fertilize the mega gardens of this pleasure chamber. All of that feels very hedonistic and gross. It costs 2 people. The rogue trader gains +5 bonus to all their skills. That is a crazy bonus. It increases our profit factor, but also increases complacency. But these are specifically just for this location, not everywhere. We can go Emporium. Surviving spine of Scipione 84249 will be rebuilt into a space elevator. It will be capped by an Emporium, accepting those ships that are too heavy to land on the surface. Space elevators is a cool concept. It costs us nothing, it just blocks the other 2 projects. What is route cost? I don't even know what that is, and it won't tell me here. But it makes route costs cost 2 more, or go down by 2, whatever that means. Profit factor would go up by 1, security goes down by 1, just here. Chemicals. So we gain A chemicals, we gain weapons, we gain efficiency, and we gain a mechanism. Well, yeah. The cost for establishing new warp routes, perhaps. Maybe? I mean, warp routes just seem to happen, and we can spend the navigation points that are at the bottom to make things safer, but it's always just one cost to make a route safer. So I don't think that there should be any sort of... Feels like that's not what that means. Honestly, hadn't paid attention to that line. Yeah. Like, of these, I don't mind the Emporium. That sounds fine. Use the surviving spine of the city to rebuild it into a space elevator. Is a cool idea. But I really like this one. You can establish brand new warp routes wherever you wish. It's just costly. I should probably look into that, just to see what options that creates. Because I haven't tried it yet. We just follow the normal routes that already exist. So this would make it cheaper to do routes, I assume. But I like this one because it gives bonuses for all colonies. And so rather than just making a single colony slightly better, making all colonies better feels good. Costing provisions, I've got quite a few. That's not a major cost. Lowering my profit factor by 1 kind of sucks, but 1 isn't a huge amount. And I don't know how people really helps. But I'm definitely thinking restoration. We get them to start working on fixing up their city. Feels the most fitting. Can I see the follow-up projects? I can't. So I can't see what comes next after I choose these. But yeah, I think we'll go restoration. Definitely not this one. That one just feels bad all around. The +5 is nice, but no. So we will execute the restoration. We'll rebuild the city on top of the ruins of the dead city. Okay, and now that's opened up new options. Are these options then based on this? If I'd chosen Emporium, would I have a different set of options? Maybe. I guess we'll look at what is available here after we finish restoration. What do we have elsewhere? Foulstone is still about to be pirate raided. We should get back there sooner rather than later, just in case. And I don't think we can work on any of these other projects because we need more relationships. Although perhaps I should put some effort into trying to work on these relationships. Anyway, back to Dargonus. We want to go to the Administratum, and we need to take Jai with us. And so they're already putting her in the team. She's an operative, which is the same role that Pascal has. So of my usual crew, Cabela is the one that's missing. That's probably fine. Again, Cabela is not the most capable in combat. And being a DLC character, she doesn't always mesh into every story either. Though they've done a good job of making her have lines in a lot of the main story. But I'm fine leaving her out here. Although, part of me wants to have Heinrichs here as well. But I don't know who I would replace. We could replace Argenta. She might not have a lot going on at the Administratum. Yeah, I think I will. So we'll bring in Heinrichs and Jai, because I think the rest of these are good people to have when visiting the Administratum. Unfortunately, that means I need to level up Jai, or leave her with like 16 levels I need to deal with. I probably shouldn't ignore even the people I never use. I probably should level them up so I don't have to go through this many levels all at once. Have fun doing paperwork? Yeah. We'll start with Heinrich's. He'll be quick. We only have like a level or two to work on with him. Till the end of the next turn, you cannot die. Damage suffered by the Vanguard is reduced. Each attack made by the Vanguard makes them a priority target for the enemy. In combat, all allies in a 3-cell radius around the Vanguard suffer less damage. I think boosting your allies is fine. And sure, we'll give you the Sanguine Siphon that I've been ignoring for ages. Why not? Alright. Oh, we haven't even chosen her her secondary archetype, and everyone else is nearly done. Like 2/3 done with their archetype. Oh dear. Alright, what do we know about you, Jai, since I never use you? She is primarily a ranged combatant. 114 in lore Imperium? That is insane. Commerce, tech use. Yeah. We've got quite a few Eldari weapons that I've not been giving out. Because they weren't good for our sniper. But potentially some of them would be good here. Less damage, more armor penetration, higher rate of fire, higher range, much higher ammo. Yeah, I'll replace your primary weapon with that one. What about this? Probably not. I do like the toxin, but not enough to make the switch. Oh, this is a two-handed weapon. Sure. This is in every way better than your Eldari chainsword. So I guess, no. Replace that one. Okay, where are the guns I had on you? That wasn't what I wanted at all. You had a different... It wasn't one of these basic shuriken pistols. I have no idea, and I have too many weapons. Wait, you can use... Oh, is this not plasma? No. Just exotic. I have no idea what she had on her. Splinter pistol, maybe? Whatever it is, it's gone now. It's a two-handed. Let's see. Shuriken pistol does 6 to 10, rate of fire 7. 6 to 9, rate of fire 6, but does 6 toxin damage. Yeah, I'll give you the option for toxin. Oh, that is a two-handed weapon. I did not notice that. Ha ha ha. Well, probably good to have just a single large weapon rather than two small weapons, because dual wielding is not much of a thing in this system. Anyway, so she's primarily, I think, a ranged character. That's true. With good fellowship. She's an operative officer, not operative. So she's Cassia's role, which is why she is never on the team, because Cassia is awesome. Vanguard seems like it'd be really weird. She's definitely a backline person, so probably not. We could do Master Tactician, that's what Cassia did. Fellowship of Ballistics. Persuasion and Medicae. She is good at all of that, so she would be a pretty decent Master Tactician. No, Grand Strategist is what we did with Cassia. Right. Fellowship and Intelligence. So maybe I should make her a Master Tactician. Always in the thick of battle, using their leadership and combat prowess, Master Tacticians are able to harness the momentum of their party to enhance the combat effectiveness of their allies and themselves, scaling with party success, long-term single-target buffs, momentum, versatility. Powers their next attack deal 4 additional damage for every stack of tactical advantage the Master Tactician has, and lose half their stacks of tactical advantage rounded up. Okay. I don't think we have a Master Tactician yet, so maybe we'll go that route. Master Tactician gains 1 stack of tactical advantage for every 5 momentum gained by the Master Tactician or their allies. The Master Tactician begins combat with a number of tactical advantage stacks equal to their fellowship bonus. And then powers their next attack to deal 4% additional damage for every stack of tactical advantage. And then loses half of it, the stacks. Okay. I'm fine with that, I think. Man, I'm going to finish up the stream just leveling her up and not be able to do anything. Target gains 5% damage and 5% additional damage for every 10 stacks of tactical advantage the Master Tactician has, but Master Tactician loses half their tactical advantage rounded up. This effect stacks and lasts until the end of combat. Yeah, too much thinking. If the target uses a heroic act before the beginning of the Master Tactician's next turn, they gain plus 25 momentum. Seems decent. Linchpin. The target ally or Master Tactician gains plus 1 resolve for every 5 stacks of tactical advantage the Master Tactician has, but the Master Tactician loses half of their stacks of tactical advantage. This effect stacks and lasts until the end of combat. Until their next turn, the Master Tactician gains stacks of tactical advantage equal to 27% of all momentum, instead of the usual 20%. Target gains temporary wounds and 1 additional temporary wound for every 2 stacks of tactical advantage, but they lose half. Until the end of their next turn, whenever the target loses temporary wounds from damage, the target gains momentum. So it seems like you're trading when allies gain momentum, we gain this tactical advantage, and then we spend tactical advantage to get bonuses that may end up, hopefully, causing our allies to do things that boosts momentum. And so it's constantly this trade-off that our tactician is doing. Marks an enemy. If that enemy is killed by one of the Master Tactician's allies before the beginning of the Master Tactician's next turn, that ally gains a bunch of resolve momentum and plus 5 to all characteristics until the end of combat. Doesn't stack. Master Tactician suffers direct damage equal to 20% of their maximum wounds and gains resolve stacks of tactical advantage and resets the cooldown of Linchpin, Inspire, and Strong Point until the end of the Master Tactician's turn. These abilities can only target the Master Tactician themselves. Can only be used on enemies with the unfinished business effect. This effect is applied to enemies which were attacked by the Master Tactician's allies, but not by the Master Tactician, and have less than 50% of their maximum wounds remaining. Master Tactician immediately attacks the target with a single shot or strike. This attack does not count towards the attack per turn limit, dealing half the weapon's maximum damage and an additional ballistic skill bonus damage. There's a lot going on there. I like assign objective, where we're trying to focus down an enemy, and then our allies get bonuses, whoever manages to kill them. I like you. I don't really care about strong point as much. Temporary wounds don't really matter to me. Fervor seemed nice. And finish the job seems nice. We'll go with assign objective. Yeah, the rule system has a lot of stacking, interactions, and synergy. That's very true. There's a lot going on, so it takes a bit to read all the options and figure out what the best choices are and how everything's going to connect to each other. So this requires us to have a linchpin, which we don't. So this is our abilities for Tactician. That's her racial bonus, being a Imperial Worlder. And those are just normal things. I could give her the Drukhari. Oh, never mind. She's already got it. I knew she had, like, Eldari proficiency. Alright, begins combat with an additional stack of tactical advantage equal to the number of enemies. Cool. More damage to targets with less wounds, and heals more wounds for targets with less than 50% wounds. Work as if the Master Tactician had 7 more stacks of tactical advantage, just makes your abilities better. Cool. Particularly since a lot of the abilities then cut your stacks in half. And so you have these 7 additional points to what the ability does, but these 7 points aren't actually counted as your stacks, and so they don't get cut in half. Master Tactician gains +1 stack of tactical advantage for every hit scored on enemies. Is it their own hit, or when allies score hits on enemies? Is that going to count? It's probably their own, but it is joint. Joint offensive sounds like it's talking about your allies, and so if your allies hitting enemies gives you a stack of tactical advantage, then that's going to go up fast. That sounds very overpowered. Whenever they gain momentum, they gain 1 more. Whenever Master Tactician or allies lose momentum, they lose 1 less. Not bad. All enemies hit by the Master Tactician have a 10% higher chance of hitting cover when shooting at the Master Tactician's allies behind cover. 10% is pretty powerful. I don't know how good of a shot she is, since this is based on her hitting enemies. I don't know how good that'll be until I see her in combat. Or if she spends her whole turn doing abilities and not actually firing. All allies have more dodge against attacks made by allies, deal less damage to allies, and deal less additional damage with critical hits against allies. So it just makes us hurt each other less. That's good for the sake of when I hit allies with fire. Doing less damage to them would be nice. Whenever an ally grants the Master Tactician stacks of tactical advantage, that ally also heals 1 wound. That is crazy. Particularly when you count that every time an ally hits an enemy, it gives them a stack of tactical advantage, and that in coordination here means that those allies would then heal for a wound every time they hit an enemy. Grenades and medkits cost 1 less action point to use, minimum 0. Is that for everyone or just herself? Because if she makes everyone heal each other for 1 less action, that's awesome. Every critical hit by the Master Tactician grants them momentum equal to resolve divided by 2. I don't think I want to focus on you scoring crits because I don't know how often that'll happen. No. Whenever an ally uses a heroic act, the Master Tactician gains 5 fellowship. Whenever their ally uses a desperate measure, they gain 5 toughness. No. Whenever any consumable is used or reloads a weapon, they gain 2 tactical advantage. Every enemy killed by the Tactician increases the Tactician's resolve by 1 until the end of combat. Sign Objective, which we did pick up, also makes the target suffer 7% more damage from any source until the beginning of the Master Tactician's next turn. That works well with the ability we already picked up. Using medkits on an ally under the effects of the Master Tactician's archetype abilities heals that target additional wounds equal to a number and removes extra injury without any tests. Neat. Stand resolute. Whenever the Master Tactician heals an ally, the ally gains resolve until the end of combat. Beginning of the Master Tactician's turn, if their momentum is higher than 125, the first burst attack or area attack used by the Master Tactician this turn costs 1 less action point. Cool. If momentum's high, you get a free burst attack or a cheaper burst attack. Oh, this one's good. Whenever the Master Tactician reloads a weapon, all allies within 3 cell radius around the Master Tactician also reload their weapons. I mean, it's not crazy, but if we have a few ranged characters, getting them all free reloads is potentially valuable. Press the advantage ignores cover and dodge. What was press the advantage? Here. Powers the next attack to deal more damage for every stack of tactical advantage. And so where was it? Here. So we do more damage and it also will ignore cover and dodge. Alright, not crazy. And I don't care about any of that. Alright, so of these... I like you getting tactical advantage on hits. I also like the +7. Yeah, I think we're going to go with joint offensive. I think that's powerful from the start. Selects a 3x3 zone on the battlefield. All allies, including the Master Tactician, that have line of sight to any enemies inside the selected zone make an immediate single attack against a random enemy within that zone that they can target with their weapons. Alright. That sounds really, really powerful. This is a bonus on Orchestrated Firestorm, which is not our... Is that our... heroic action? It might be. It sounds like a heroic action power. Grants 1 additional AP. Yep, everyone got that. Alright. Now for you, Ballistics and Fellowship. I mean, fellowship is your major thing. I think a lot of your abilities are based on fellowship rather than your own combat score. I mean, maybe not. But let's boost your fellowship. At least for now. Same thing. Let's see. Where was the one that makes allies heal? Here we go. So, whenever an ally grants tactical advantage, which happens every time they hit now, they will heal a single wound. I think that potentially could be pretty crazy if it works as well as it sounds. Let's grab Lynch Pin. Maybe. Or a free single shot. I don't know. We'll go linchpin. Alright, then... So we had a couple of the ones that were based on linchpin that I didn't even look at. Now that we have linchpin, now only spends a quarter of the tactical advantage stacks instead of half. Okay. That makes linchpin better if I'm planning to use linchpin. I think there were a couple of others that required linchpin. No, you require finish the job. Strong point. Okay. Do I want to just grab this one now so that I can use a linchpin without being as afraid of running out of my stacks? Sure. Skill-wise, she's got so many bonuses to everything because she uses her fellowship on all of them, including the lore skills, which is surprising. We could give her Medicae. I think Medicae is one of her main skills for this class, and it'll make her better at healing, which sounds good. Persuasion could be nice, but I think her persuasion's already pretty high. Cassia's is certainly great, and I don't think I'm ever going to pull Cassia out of the team. Demolition, no. Or Imperium is already too good. Carouse doesn't matter. Coercion is already pretty high, and Commerce is already fairly high. We'll go with Medicae. I'm fine with that. We can't boost Fellowship anymore, so we'll grab Ballistic Skill. And now we just have ordinary talents. Well, under 40% wounds gain plus 10 bonus to all characteristics and plus 2 resolve. And that plus 2 resolve is going to increase all the things. No other character in the current party has the same archetype as this character. The first archetype ability used in each combat costs 1 less AP. No. Boosting the resolve of our allies. Just for 1 round. It's not crazy. I mean, that bonus sounds really good. Something called Better to Die for the Emperor doesn't seem to fit Jai very much because we know she's not super dogmatic. I don't think I care about any of this. I mean, I could arguably grab some of these characteristic bonuses, but no. We'll go better to die for the Emperor. Now what? Hidden advantage seems good. Is that coming from fellowship? Yes. So, yeah, it's things like that where boosting our fellowship is going to have better rewards. Or we go with Nerves of Steel. Whenever you gain momentum, gain one more. No, because this isn't giving us momentum. I was going to say this one already gives one on every hit. But no. That doesn't stack quite as well as I was hoping there. Because that would have been crazy. Maybe allowing the assign objective to do even more damage. Do we keep boosting Medicae? Or Persuasion? I think Medicae. Because I don't think... If Cabella's not in the team, we don't have any great Medicae people. Pascal is our best. So getting another, like, great Medicae person, because she's probably going to take Cabella's spot regularly if she's ever in the team. Yep, let's keep boosting ballistic skill. An improvement to your last volley ability, which was what? It's like a 3x3 zone and all allies get a free attack on it, right? Master Tactician and one random ally make 2 attacks instead of 1 during the orchestrated firestorm. Okay. So they and one other get an extra attack on top of the free attack. Orchestrated firestorm and last volley can be used multiple times per combat, once per turn. I doubt we're going to care about that. All allies, including the Master Tactician, that have weapons capable of burst attacks, use a burst attack instead of a single attack against enemies as part of the orchestrated firestorm and last volley. Until the beginning of the Master Tactician's next turn, allies automatically dodge all friendly fire. Okay. So that allows us to use burst attacks without worry about accidentally shooting allies that are in the middle of that area. That's very tempting. If weapons capable of area attacks, use these attacks against instead of single attack. All allies have a 35% armor until the end of the Master Tactician's next turn. I think burst fits us more than area attacks. Well, we could do area attacks, because area attacks, I think, is things like cleave and whatnot, right? We just don't have any guns that do area attacks. But things like Pascal's axe that does a big area of damage, I think that does count as an area attack. So they could do their more fancy strikes. But this would allow herself and Argenta to do burst fire. I think we'll go with burst fire. I'm not certain about the area attacks. And burst fire applies to herself and several other people that have rapid fire weapons. Alright, one more ability. I think hidden advantage. The 8 more stacks. Was 8 more stacks? Yes. I think hidden advantage is better than just having more stacks. So we will complete there. Alright. That was a lot. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. But we've effectively reached the end of my streaming time, and so this seems like a good stopping point. Next time, we will actually head forward and figure out what all there is to do here in the administration building. But thanks for watching, everyone. And I will see you next week when we continue. Bye.